Once you have your notes, make sure that you got your name, date, and class hour on there. Our essential question should already be printed on there for you, which is, what elements of a map are necessary for it to be useful? This is the same essential question from last Friday when you guys wrote your notes on totals. Your learning target, complete the blanks there. It should be, I can describe and utilize longitude and latitude lines to identify location. Both those terms should not be new to you. Okay, so just as a reminder, keep in mind that there are tons and tons of different kinds of maps in this world. Here's a map of the US. However, this one's showing us different information than what you're used to. That's the point of different maps. They show us different information. This one's showing you the most popular movies based on each state. There's a movie called Fargo, which is based between Minnesota and North Dakota. That's the most popular movie based in our state. Pulp Fiction in California. The Godfather set in New York. Michigan, Gran Torino. Okay. Another map of the US. This one is telling us what your state is the worst at. Minnesota is the worst state for small businesses. Texas has the lowest high school graduation rate. You got Montana, highest motor vehicle death rate. So this is what each state is the worst at. Here's a map of the US that shows us what each state is the best at. Minnesota is the greatest at exercise rate. More people exercise here than anywhere else. Texas has the most wind power. California, most acres of organic farmland. Before we start with today's notes, we need to understand the difference between something called relative location and absolute location. Some of you guys might know what this is. This is the snowman in downtown North St. Paul. If I were to tell you, hey, meet me by the snowman, most of you guys would know where that is. I just gave you something called relative location. I said where I was near. It was an estimate. In order for relative location to make sense, though, the person that you're telling has to already kind of know the area. They have to have a frame of reference. For you, it was the snowman. Now, if I were to tell you to meet me at the corner of Margaret and Centennial Drive, I'd be giving you absolute location. That is right here. Here's Margaret. Here's Centennial Drive. It is one of these 3 or 2 corners here. That is absolute location. It is exact. They are both the same place. Margaret and Centennial Drive is where the snowman is at. 2 different ways of telling the same location. One is an estimate. One gives us exact. This is what we're going to work on today. The cardinal directions, this is on your notes now, are the most common reference for something called relative location, that approximate, that estimate. Examples would be north, east, southwest, intermediate directions such as northeast, southwest, and the list continues. You guys have what's called a compass rose on your notes. Can you please label your compass rose with these? Pause the video if you have to. The next type of actually, you know what? Let me go back. Using this compass rose, let's look at this map of the 100-acre woods. If we were to ask the question, okay, who lives north of Pooh? We'd have to first identify Pooh. We have to have that frame of reference. Here's Pooh. Who lives north of him? So north, I know that is going to have to be going up. Okay, so I'm going to look up, and the closest one is going to be Kanga. If we ask the question, who lives south of Pooh? We have to look at Pooh, and then we're going to look at below, and the closest person is going to be Piglet. Now, if we were to ask a general question, though, who lives in the southeast region of the 100-acre woods? This is the 100-acre woods. Southeast region. Here's south, here's east. Southeast is going to be down and to the right. So if we look at this area, okay, who lives there? Owl lives there. Eeyore lives there. Okay. Alright, continue on with notes. Latitude lines. Parallel lines that run east and west. They're the ones that go this way. Measured from 0 degrees at the equator to 9 degrees at the poles. These are the poles, north and south pole. When you use longitude lines and latitude lines together, you can find absolute location. That's when like 2 lines cross. Examples of latitude lines are the equator, Tropic of Cancer, Tropic of Capricorn, the Arctic Circle, the Antarctic Circle. you guys should have a circle next to your latitude lines definition. Please draw and label these lines. I would start with the middle. That's going to be the equator. That's 0. Then moving up about a third. It's going to be 30 degrees N. That's north. 60 degrees north. 90 degrees north. Should be a point right at the top. And continue with 30 and 60, 90 degrees south. Longitude lines. These are convergence lines that run north and south. They meet at the poles. Okay. Imagine like the slices of an orange. That's the way that longitude lines work. They measure from 0 to 180 degrees throughout. When you use longitude lines with latitude lines, the ones we just learned about, you can find absolute locations. They will cross at different parts of the world. Examples of longitude lines that you should know: prime meridian, the international date line. Prime meridian is going to be at 0. International date line's at 180 degrees. On the back of your notes, please label the prime meridian. Where I have this 0, this green line, I'd like you guys to trace that in. If you have color pencils or markers or whatever else, you can do the same thing in color. I did mine in green. That's the prime meridian. Please label prime meridian somewhere along there. The equator is the one in red. It's already labeled for you, but go ahead and do that anyways. And that's at 0 as well. However, you'll notice the equator is 0 latitude. The prime meridian is 0 longitude. There's another really important longitude line, and I traced it in this kind of pink-purple color. You'll notice it's on both sides. They are the exact same line. Keep in mind that the world is round. And so this line is the same as this line. This is 180 degrees. Okay. Now, something I'd like you guys all to do is notice that everything over here should be labeled west. This is 20 degrees west, 60 west. There's a W here already. 100 west, 140 west. Okay. Everything over here is going to be east. 20 east, 60 east, the E's there. 100 east, 140 east. Everything above the equator is going to be north, so this should be 20N, 40N, 60N, 180N, or sorry, 80N. They are the lines that are going to be connecting. You'll see 40, we trace that, goes next over here. And anything below the equator is going to be south. So 20, 40 south, 60 south. Okay. Now I did 4 stars here. Now I'd like you guys doing the same thing. The first star should be at 20 north, 100 west. So if I'm following that 20 north, I know that's this line, so somewhere along here, 100 west. Here's 100, I'm following the curved line. It should be right in Mexico. Now there's another one that's on 20 north, but that's 100 east. That's why we have to keep in mind the cardinal directions that we place alongside of them. That's going to be over here, and it's going to be in the country of Thailand. Below the equator, you have 20 north, 100 east, right in the Indian Ocean. On this side in the Pacific Ocean, there's another star at 20 south, 100 west. We can do some of these as practice. So what city is at 100 east and 1 south? Okay. First, I see that this dotted line is the equator. Okay. I see 100 east is here, 1 south. I don't see a line for that, so we have to kind of estimate. If this is 10 south, this is 0, 1 is probably right along here. I'm going to guess that the correct answer is Padang. It's asking for the coordinates of Palembang. That's the one on the star here. If I was going to follow along here, it's between 100 east and 110 east. We could probably guess this at 105 east. And coming down, I'm going to guess it's not quite 5 south, maybe 4 south. So 4 south, 105 east. Looking at a different map. Let me get rid of this stuff for you. It's asking what country is at 17 north, 72 west. Okay. So if we look at 17 north, I see 20 north here. Here's 25, so I need to go the opposite. Here's 15. Somewhere along here, 17 north, The 72 west. Here's 60 west, 70 west. I'm going to guess this is probably 80 west, so 72 would be here, 72 west, and 17 north. This country right here, the country of Haiti, is at 17 north, 72 west. Okay, get rid of this stuff again. What are the coordinates for Puerto Rico? So we have to first find Puerto Rico. It's the one on the star. So we have to find that. If I'm looking at these latitude lines, here's 25, here's 20, here's 15. It's between 15 and 20. I'm going to guess this is at about 18 north. Now along here, 60 west, 70 west. It's between the two, but it's closer to 70. This might be 66, 67 west. Let's say 67 west, 17 north. Let's do one last practice. The country of Iceland. Yeah. Let's see, 60 north is here. 70 north. I'm going to guess this is at about 64 north. And it's hard to see here, but we can kind of see the lines kind of implied through here. Here's 10 west, 20 west. Okay, so 20 west. And what would you say? You said 67 or 64 north? Okay. Alright, as you finish up your notes, make sure that you do your summary. What are the main points? Why are coordinates important? Mention relative and absolute locations. Mention latitude, longitude lines. Also, there's another mapping exercise for you to do. The sheet should be up front.